So the first of these two extracts I want you to take a look at home is at the end of Act 4, Scene 1. And many people see these lines as actually the sort of peak of Macbeth's cruelty, his tyranny and his violent chaos. Now there's several reasons for that. The first of which is that he can't get at Macduff because Macduff has fled. But he's so haunted by the vision of Banquo's descendants that he has Macduff's entire family killed. And the crucial detail here is that these acts of cruelty and violence are not even tied to the prophecy. There is nothing in the prophecy that states that he should in some way be fearful of Macduff. Macduff's family, sorry, even though it warned him about Macduff. So he says this, "Time, thou anticipates my dread exploits." And this is here him addressing time itself. He speaks to time itself in these lines because he discovers that Macduff has fled and he believes that this in some way fits with his evil planning that he's plotting. And so he seems to be pleased by this. It says, this is all spoken in an aside, this line. It says, "Thou anticipates my terrible exploits." He then says, "The flighty purpose never is overtook unless the deed go with it." And by this he means it's impossible to act as fast as thought unless you can act at the time that an idea arrives. So he's talking here about putting thoughts into action as soon as they happen without even thinking about the consequences. And this is what he plots to do here. He says, "From this moment, the very firstlings of my heart, the very firstborn things of my heart, shall be the firstlings of my hand." So the very firstborn things of my feeling shall be the firstborn things of my hand, the things that I will do. "And even now," he then says, "to crown my thoughts with act, be it thought and done." So here, he has decided to act without thinking. And there's that thinking that he's talking about is morality. He is deciding to get rid of morality altogether. As soon as I've thought about something, be it done. And so here, he has become what his wife desires in Act 1, Scene 5. That she says, "No compunctious visitings of nature shake my fell purpose." And compunctious means it gives you thoughts of guilt or regret. So she, in that line, is asking for this to happen. And here, in these lines, Macbeth seems to be at that point. And so this is the play's actual vision of evil here. It's ambition without any sense of morality. Macbeth is fulfilling that definition that the play, I think, provides us of evil. And he then plots this. "The castle of Macduff I will surprise, seize upon Fife," which is where Macduff's castle is located, "and give to the edge of the sword his wife, his babes, and all unfortunate souls that trace him in his line." And now there's this horrifying sense in this line here of pointless sacrifice in giving lives to the sword. He talks about the babies of Macduff, his wife, and anyone connected to him in relation, giving them to the edge of the sword, letting them fall on the edge of the sword. And it's quite horrifying, this line, in its lack of humanity and the sense of pointless sacrifice and waste. And then he says here, "No boasting like a fool. This deed I'll do before this purpose cool." He means before I lose the intention of the act. So I'm going to put it into practice before I lose the sense of intention. And his final line says, "But no more sights. Where are these gentlemen? Come, bring me where they are." And he says here, he again tries not to see these plans he's put together. So there's still this attempt to dissociate himself from his own evil in these lines. He's still a little bit horrified. He's trying to put them into practice and wants it to happen without actually thinking about the consequences. But he knows that if he actually sees these deeds in practice, he's not going to be able to tolerate the sense of guilt that they will create. Now, all you need to do once you finish these annotations is finish the sentence stem off, just to put your thinking down into words. This represents the peak of Macbeth's tyranny, his aggressive, unfair leadership of others. Because what is it about these lines that shows us that this is Macbeth's peak of tyranny?